Entitled mother, aka maybe the Karen of the year, gets me banned from my favorite steakhouse, and you will not believe the reason why. I can finally air my uncensored frustration about the night my engagement was single-handedly corrupted by my entitled mother-in-law. Let's call her Ellen because she always reminded me of Ellen DeGeneres, even before all this recent news broke. Okay, so my girlfriend and I were really engaged to be engaged. We'd both agreed we wanted to get married, but I had not done the formal proposal yet, because we wanted to meet each other's families first since neither lived nearby. I always thought the old trope about meeting the in-laws being a big fiasco was a myth. But because I was younger and more naive then, because I'm lucky to have easy parents, my girlfriend met them for a few hours. Once we were alone, just me and them, I told them my intentions and the mom asked me, "Does she have any kids already?" And my dad asked, "Does she have a good solid job?" And they both asked, "Do you really love her?" And that was that. I had their full support for the marriage. I thought meeting her parents would go the same. Some grilling was to be expected, but as long as I was honest and respectful, it would be fine. Relevant fact: they had my girlfriend when they were teenagers, by surprise, so now had a to-do-over daughter. Their words, not mine, who was 6 years old. My girlfriend and I made this trip up to the city, and I met them for the first time over dinner at Steakhouse. It was pretty upscale, and we'd scheduled the dinner for 8 p.m., so I was surprised to see they brought the kid along with them. I met everyone at once, and the initial awkwardness settled once we sat down. We were making great small talk when the 6-year-old said she was thirsty. No big deal, right? Well, all of a sudden, Ellen starts screaming, "Water! Water! Water!" A waiter came rushing over to see what the commotion was, and without even making eye contact with the poor guy, Ellen says this: "We've been here forever and no one's even gotten us a water. My daughter's been asking." We've been sitting here for about 15 or 20 minutes without service, but they were visibly behind, and there were no circumstances that would have warranted the shouting. I should have realized by how unfazed everyone else at the table was that I should be bracing myself for a long night. But I could not imagine that was to come at this point. The waiter rushed over with water and apologized for the delay, explaining a few very large parties all arrived at once. The guy seemed sincere and quite affable, so I thought the water would just be anomaly in an otherwise pleasant night. Then Ellen kicked into full gear. "We'll need a kids menu," she informed the waiter. He said that they did not have a kids menu, but that the chef could simply modify dishes. "What do you mean you don't have a kids menu?" Ellen replied in total disbelief, as though he'd said they did not have a fire exit. He explained that they did not get too many child visits and that there were enough plain foods on the menu, so no separate menu had ever been necessary. Ellen sighed dramatically and waved him away, literally saying nothing, just waving him off the table. I tried to give him an apologetic glance, but understandably, he did not look back our way. I was so glad the poor guy left and did not have to be subjected to her anymore. Meanwhile, she turned her attention on me, and I almost wish he would come back. At least he was getting paid to be here. She was like, "So, you're a screenwriter." I explained, "Well, yes and no. I want to be, but it's hard to get a job in that field that you can support yourself on. So, I'm working at a non-profit right now. There's a screenwriting component on the job, though, so I'm really happy there." Ellen turned to her 6-year-old and went, "Hear that, hun? You want to be sure to snag a man who works for profit. Learn from this. It's not too late for you." I couldn't tell if she was trying to be funny or not, so I just let it pass, looking over to my girlfriend to see if she was even considering speaking up on my behalf. Nope. The waiter came back visibly nervous. That hurt, because he was so relaxed and personable at the start of the meal. He asked if we'd like to hear the specials before we ordered, and Ellen said sure. Here's how that went. First, we have a lightly seared strip steak. Next! Okay. Then we have a broiled leg of grass-fed. Next! We have a pasta primavera mixed with next! And on until he's gone through the whole 7 or 10 specials. Even though she ultimately ordered off the menu, a plain ribeye well done. She tried to order her daughter the same, but the kid said she just wanted plain mashed potatoes. So Ellen let her get mashed potatoes alone for dinner. Then she sent the waiter away. The rest of us hadn't even ordered yet, and everyone else just sat there like it was entirely normal. I waited for someone to say something, thinking it was more her older daughter, my girlfriend's place, or her husband's. But when no one did it, I couldn't help myself. Was the one steak and potatoes going to be for all of us? Or... My girlfriend explained in the tone you'd use for a tourist violating a sacred local taboo. My mom always has the waiter put the kids' food in first, so it can get started right away. We'll order once the kitchen has hers. I thought she was joking. Since Ellen did not order for her kids' food, she also ordered for her dinner too. So I laughed. I chuckled. Something funny? Ellen asked. Then I realized, they're serious! And I shut up. Thankfully, her dad at least recognized what was now normal for them might not be so regular to me, and tried to lighten the mood with a change of topic. But not even 10 minutes after we ordered, I guess technically 5 minutes, or after, 10 minutes after she and her daughter ordered, Ellen started in again. Another table that's been here long before we were got a side of order mashed potatoes with their bill. Ellen threw a total conniption. She was sputtering so inaudibly that none of us could figure out what was wrong at first. Finally, she managed to flag down some busboy who barely spoke English, and began laying into him like he just swiped her on the freeway. He kept trying to explain he was not a server. He could go get one, but she would not stop to breathe long enough for him to find someone who could actually help. All the while, I kept looking at my girlfriend for some, signs of embarrassment. Or at the very least irritation, but you would not have known if she was right there hearing any of this. Our waiter came over, somehow still feigning a smile despite knowing what he was walking into. And Ellen actually says this. Why did the table get mashed potatoes and ours have not had any yet? The waiter kinda concisely explained. Well, ma'am, those people ordered potatoes before your party even placed their order. Ellen looked this man dead in the eyes, finally, and says this. Well, it doesn't matter when they ordered. My daughter is the youngest one here. Her food should come out first. You could tell the waiter was working hard to restrain himself at this point. He explained it was a first-come, first-served policy, and age did not help one way or the other. He offered to go check on the status of the potatoes. Ellen agreed, or more specifically, she said, yeah, you better. But I was clocking him, and he went right back to his server station, because we had only just ordered a few minutes ago. 3 or 5 minutes passed, during which we could have no other discussion at the table except how awful this restaurant was. How hungry the poor baby, who hasn't said a word about being hungry this whole time and is content playing her loud iPad game, without headphones, disturbing all the others dining around us. And how America's lost all respect for motherhood because it's just a me culture now. I chimed in. I'm with you on the last part, and to my utter shock, instead of laughing at my joke, my girlfriend seemed annoyed with me. So, after a few minutes, the waiter comes back and says the potatoes will be out very soon. Ellen then goes and does something that, again, I thought was just a myth. She took 3 singles and a 5 out of her wallet, put them on a table in full view of the waiter. Then she took 1 single away and says this: "Every table I see getting potatoes before us is a bill gone." I was absolutely mortified. The waiter, to his unending credit, just took a deep breath and said, "I don't have control over the order in which the kitchen fires tickets, but what I can tell you is it should be out any minute," and left without saying anything disparaging. I've been holding my tongue all night as well in the name of my relationship, but once the tip hit the table, the $8 tip for a $100 bill, on top of else, I figured if my girlfriend was half the woman I thought she was, then she would not mind speaking up at this point. If anything, she should be supportive, right? So, I scooted my chair back a bit and said, "Listen, I know what you're doing with the cash on the table, but that kind of thing makes me really uncomfortable, and it's just not called for. Please put the money away, or we can just continue with this some other time." My girlfriend's dad spits back, "What? How cheap do you have to be to not believe in tipping service workers?" Before I could process whether he was serious or yanking my chain, Ellen shocked me with this: "No, you know what? You're right. This isn't necessary." I should have known better than to be relieved. She folded the bills back into her wallet and patiently waited for the next plate of mashed potatoes to be carried out. And when it wasn't delivered to us, by the way, it's a very common side dish at this place, it's a steakhouse, she went right up to the stranger's table and picked it off their table. She half explained something about her daughter starving to death as she was walking away with the stranger's food. But unsurprisingly, that was not convincing enough for them. The old lady she took it from followed her right over to her table and tried to take it back. I was already searching for my coat tag in preparation to go. But then, a shoving match was beginning to unfold between Ellen and an elderly woman with a tennis ball walker. And far be it from me to sit through all that happening only to leave just as the night was getting interesting. The elderly woman was like, "Give me my potatoes back! Who are you?" And the poor little girl was like, "Mommy, it's okay. Don't take someone's potatoes." But it all fell on deaf ears. Ellen yelled at the old lady, "How could you sit there and eat those when my daughter hasn't even been served yet? She's sitting here hungry, just a little girl, and you're over there stuffing your face. Come on, other potatoes will be out any minute." And the old lady, got to love her, was like, "Great, if they'll be out any minute, then what's the problem?" To which Ellen still found holier than the ground, gasping, "Language, please." Finally, the waiter, and this time someone higher up as well, I think the manager, thank God, came over to separate them, as they had begun to raise their voice and cause a disturbance. Staff had already asked Ellen to turn down her daughter's iPad multiple times without heed. And I'm guessing the waiter informed management about the quote, "tip on the table" stunt that she pulled, because that was their final straw right now. They told us we were going to have to leave the restaurant. "But we don't have our food yet," Ellen complained to the guy. This was clearly not the manager's first rodeo. "You can take the food that's already been served free of charge. Everything else is canceled. Please leave now." The old lady did not miss her chance to knock the potatoes right onto the floor, so we could not try to take them with us. Nothing else has been served yet, so we had to leave empty-handed. When my girlfriend and I were finally alone in our car, she said, quote, "Can you believe that?" And I said, "Not at all, and I really can't believe you did not warn me." She said, "How could I have known about any of that?" And confused, I asked, "Is she not usually like this?" Even more confused than me, my girlfriend asked, "Who?" "Your mom!" "What's my mom got to do with the terrible service at that place?" That was the beginning of the end of our relationship. The fact she did not see anything wrong with her mom's behavior and that I'd be marrying into that situation shook me deep to the core. We both dodged the bullet in more ways than one. In hindsight, we weren't right for each other, regardless of who her family was. Her mom saved us both a lot of time and heartache, helping me realize in one night what would have probably taken us years otherwise. Within a month, we moved into separate apartments and we've gone on a quote, break. Well, that ended up lasting forever. I'm not sorry I won't see you again, Ellen. I'm sorry any waitstaff ever will, though. I have to say, I've read a lot of Karen stories on the channel, and this might be top 5 of the wildest, most crazy, mind-boggling experiences that I've read about a Karen. Who in the right mind goes this far? I think she needs mental evaluation. Guys, if you were there at this steakhouse, say you were even a fly on the wall, tell me in the comment section down below what would be the best outcome for this Karen that did not happen. My favorite thing about this story is OP's like, hey, screw this, I'm over with this relationship because this is crazy. Guys, that's all the stories I have for you today. It was just one story, but I thought it was so good, I didn't want to add others. Drop what you want to see also in the comment section, as I love reading your opinions and like to see what you guys enjoy. Everyone have a great day, I wish you the best, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. See ya.